Shalom is real. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, for putting the spirit on me to do another one. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone for being faithful witnesses to the Holy Spirit. And Salakia Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls God. Yahweh Shai is his son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. And there's no God beside them. Salutations to the elect. Alright, so quick hit. As you see the news, Iran's biggest bank just got wiped out in big cyber attack, leaving no ATMs, no cash, Bitcoin stolen. Now, I'm about to head in the crib for in a bit, take it down. But Dabo had brought this out, and even he was saying that, let me see if I can find that part actually. Because as soon as I seen it, I'm like, you know what? This is eventually going to come here to the States. But, which supposedly, it was from Israel. It was, Israel hit on what Iran did to them. So let me start at the 2-minute part.
Country's oldest and most prominent financial institutions in the country. They have long-standing ties to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard and the Iranian army. This is the bank that's been used to feed all the financing into their military, anything. Making of missiles, transporting anything, it's all tied through this bank. They say that the group, which has been linked to Israel, announced on social media that it had destroyed all data at the bank. And this coincides with widespread disruptions in banking services all across Iran right now. People cannot get into their bank accounts. You might as well say ATMs are shut down. Money's wiped out. Nobody can access anything in that regard going through this bank. Other banks will be operational, but this system targeted by Israel. Not really a surprise, but they say again that they targeted this bank specifically because of its military ties and its sanctions evasions. So on the heels of this, we also have hackers stealing and destroying millions from Iran's largest crypto exchange. So at the same time, Novatex saying that they have been hacked and the funds have been drained from its hot wall. You're talking $90 million stolen right there in that move. It goes on down here to mention that Predatory Sparrow, again, being involved, taking the credit for all these cyber attacks. So this one group hitting the biggest banks, wiping them out, and also going into the largest crypto exchange, hacking it, and stealing all the money. So that is the latest here. I'm going to leave a link, but this just goes to show that this can happen in America at any time. I expect that this is what's going to happen in America. It's going to be part of a greater reset here in the ushering in of what they call a new way.
And I believe so. Pretty much Israel attacked Iran attacked Israel, and this is Israel's get back, so to speak. Now, how is Iran going to get back at Israel? And recently I just seen an article on a news break to where it says a U.S. strike on Iran could open a Pandora's box in the Middle East. All right, and not just in the Middle East, but in America as well. Now, this scripture's been coming out a lot lately, so you already know what comes to mind in this whole fiasco, Jeremiah 49. And 20, the least of the flock shall draw him out. The least of the flock being Israel is going to draw America. The scriptures also call it the northern army that the Lord is going to drive off into the valley of decision. So since the United States appears to be moving closer to joining Israel's conflict with Iran with a possible strike on the country's key nuclear facilities, including the Fordo fuel enrichment plant, which is hidden deep inside a mountain, days into Israel's attack on Iran and its nuclear program, Israeli leaders are waiting to learn whether U.S. President Donald Trump will help them finish the job. Trump is increasingly warning to using U.S. military assets to strike Iranian nuclear facilities and soaring on the idea of a diplomatic solution to the crisis. Now, here it is. Well, let me just keep going. It says, two officials familiar with the ongoing discussions told CNN, I may do it, I may not do it. I mean, nobody knows what I'm going to do. I can tell you this, that Iran's got a lot of trouble and they want to negotiate. And I said, why didn't you negotiate with me before all this death and destruction? Trump told reporters at the White House on Wednesday. You know, and that's a one-sided argument, because why he not saying that to Bibi? It says Iran experts warn that a U.S. attack on Iran could draw it into a quagmire even more challenging than the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. A drawn-out confrontation that could last the duration of Trump's presidency and exact a heavy toll of American lives and resources at Israel's behest. And call hello to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, right? Because this is the spiritual year, or this is the year that the elders and apostles coined, the year of Esau's destruction and the hopeful year of our deliverance. So we're only waiting for that MOTB to pop off, and this will happen. All right, Trump is only in the first year of his presidency, and all of this is happening. So it's only going to grow, and things are going to come to pass that much faster as we get closer and closer. Any attack by the U.S. will lead to full-scale attack by the Iranians against U.S. bases in the region, and a full-scale war between the U.S. and Iran. Trita Parsi, executive vice president of the Quincy Institute in Washington, D.C., told CNN, Tehran may not be able to sustain a long fight with the U.S., but it won't be an easy war for Washington either, he said. And another thing to note is that with all the immigrants that came into America, why is the only ones they focusing on is you so-called Hispanics? All right, what about, you know, the Middle Eastern refugees, you know, the Egyptians, Iraqis, and so on and so forth? What about them? You know, through the spirit, you know, brothers been saying that for the longest now. You know, you got sleeper cells waiting to, you know, change this society. All right, and I mean, pretty much behind the scenes, this whole thing is orchestrated for a great reset, as Dabu mentioned. All right, but we know it's going to go down violently. Hey, we coming into some hot days, so that could, you know, add to what will be a grid down scenario. Now, whether it be that or, you know what I'm saying, a cyber attack of some sort on a large portion, we know something's gonna come. Something's about to come to this place known as Babylon the Great. You know, while you people, you get ready for your summer jam and, you know, see who's finna win the finals and the situation with Diddy, this is happening in real time. Iran is a very large country, which means there would be a very large number of targets the United States would have to hit to take out Iran's ability to strike back. Parsi said nothing that this would be happening when there isn't widespread support for a war with Iran and Trump's own camp. And that's another way we see this place is falling, because Satan is divided against Satan. All right? Everybody, for the most part, believes that that's not a war we should be in. But if you know, America's in Israel's back pocket. A U.S. strike on Iran would open up Pandora's box and most likely consume the rest of the President Trump's presidency. And not just his presidency, but the rest of the resources that's here in the States. Also, the draft is coming. That's also written in the book of 2 Ezra 16. Right? That the maids should lose their husbands, their bridegrooms, to the wars. And it's not just a rumor anymore. These things are happening real time. Hey, another thing. It's not smart to be going to these protests. Right? Because things getting violent. Things are very violent. Last day's perilous time shall come. People are incontinent, untrustworthy. These are perilous times, man. So with that, something quick in the spirit. Shalom to the elect.